Want to be featured on the Rock Metal Podcast just like all the other great bands you've heard up to this point? Go ahead and hit me up, therockmetalpodcast@gmail.com. Let me know. Let's work out the deed. Rock Metal Podcast, episode 28 with Scream Serenity.
I fall to oblivion.
Cool beans, let's go ahead and get started.
Awesome, let's do it.
All right, Rock Metal Nation, I've got on the line today Jordan from Scream Serenity, metal band in the UK, and I'm super stoked to have him on to talk about Scream Serenity's doings, comings, goings, music, which you're going to hear today. And Jordan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, John.
Absolutely. So Jordan, why don't you tell Rock Metal Nation a bit about yourself, maybe what inspired you to get into music?
Okay, so I guess I sort of learnt guitar because of my dad, really. I started when I was about 13 years old. I learnt guitar. My dad had always kind of played since he was a kid, and I saw videos and stuff of him playing when I was a child, and it just kind of spurred me to learn. And I kind of grew up listening to a lot of rock music. One that you'll probably be familiar with, Bryan Adams.
Yes.
I grew up listening to a lot of Bryan Adams. Bryan Adams and Bon Jovi were my sort of two main kind of growing up memories musically. So as soon as I kind of learned guitar, I started bands. I had friends at school who also learned instruments. So we as quickly as we could, we formed a band, and I've kind of not looked back since, really. About the age of 14, so about a year after I learned guitar and could sort of play proficiently enough to actually be in a band, I started writing my own music, and it's just kind of not stopped since, really. So that's kind of where I kind of started from. I've progressed through the years since then through kind of several bands, and it led me to Scream Serenity.
Wow. And then now on the Rock Metal Podcast.
Now we're on the Rock Metal Podcast.
Exactly. I dig it. Learned guitar because of your dad, so it turns out your dad was actually an Iron Maiden, so that's a really cool story. And seeing him on stage rocking out, that's cool. I dig that. And I grew up listening to the Bryan Adams. I know I always get like a patriotic tinge in my heart whenever I hear Bryan Adams. I don't know why.
Yeah, he's a very good songwriter. I'll give him that.
That he is, and so are Bon Jovi. So you've got some really good influences coming in to the old noggin, and then so therefore, boom! By the age of 14, you're writing music, you're starting bands, and then the rest is history. You've got a lot of practice at it, obviously, because I don't know how old you are, but obviously you're not 16 or 17.
No, I'm 26.
26, all right. So you've got at least a good 10, 12 years of music writing experience and definitely some exposure. Yeah. So it's good stuff. So I'm curious then, with the current lineup with Scream Serenity, how did you guys find each other?
Well, the current lineup that we have, we recently changed bass players. There's been, since the band kind of started in 2014, I'd like to say. Was it earlier than that? No, I think the band, to be honest with you, kind of started in 2012. We weren't a sort of full four-piece until about 2014. But I think 2012, because I'd gone off to university or college, whatever you guys call it, and I came back and I knew that I wanted to start a band. While I was away, I wrote tons of new songs that I just kind of wanted to get out there, and I just wanted to get back into a band again and get out there. So my brother played drums for us when we started, and eventually he kind of left us, and we got Johnny in. But it was kind of me, my brother, and Ian, our guitarist. Ian and my brother Ethan were in a band together while I was at university. So, and I kind of knew Ian from, the local kind of music circuits and stuff like that, from being back in school and stuff like that. So, and I knew that Ian had the same kind of influences as me, and, I knew that we'd work perfectly together. musically and in the band and stuff. So I kind of called him and spoke to him, and he jumped at the chance. So it was us three for kind of a good year and a half to 2 years before we finally got our bass player, Jason. And Jason was with us for, I think, around about 6 months. And then we parted ways with him, and we got our second bass player, Paul, who he'd had a lot of experience. He'd kind of toured the UK semi-professionally, and he had a lot of experience. He was a few years older than all of us as well, so he kind of came in, and we started working with him, and he was a front man as well in his previous band. So there's me, Ian, who was a front man in his previous bands that he'd been in, and now Paul. So, one thing that we sort of got told while Paul was with us was that they absolutely loved the fact that we had three frontmen. There were three distinct personalities on stage when we played live. We all kind of bounced off each other. Paul seemed to be the master of puns. It was quite embarrassing, to be honest. That was kind of where we were up to until I think around about May this year. And then Paul unfortunately had to leave us due to work commitments. He got himself a new job, and I think he was working about 60 hours a week. So it was just impossible for him to kind of do everything that he wanted and needed to do. It's, priorities take hold, unfortunately.
Quitter.
So yeah. So then we got our now bass player, James. And basically Ian had known James well since they were kids, and James is actually a guitarist in another local band, another sort of local sort of pop punk band, actually. So something completely different from kind of what we are. Mm-hmm. But it's really nice having that kind of that different sort of influence coming. And yeah, James has kind of taken up the duties on bass, and to be honest with you, we've never been stronger because of it, really. So the good thing is in James's other band, he's also the front man, so we've kept that uniqueness of having the three front men. Like I say, we're stronger than ever, and we're now about to start writing new material.
Cool. No, I dig it, and I imagine that having somebody who is multi-instrument talented like that with James, where he can play the bass, but he can also play the guitar, and he's also versed in different musical styles, that's going to change the writing process a bit, eh?
Definitely. I think it kind of, it definitely brings in something new to the band. The great thing about James is, he doesn't just listen to kind of pop punk. That is his kind of, his first love, I guess you could say, in terms of music, but he listens to so much different genres that he's able to kind of adapt himself to what we do as well. So usually the way our writing process works is either me or Ian will have an idea, and then we'll take it into the studio and with the rest of the boys, and we'll kind of all work on it together, and we'll throw ideas in, and we'll kind of piece a song together bit by bit until we're 100% happy. So
I'm curious, what inspired the name Scream Serenity, Jordan?
Now, we've been asked this question several times. There isn't really anything that has inspired it. It's always a question that I hate to answer because there's no definitive answer, to be honest.
You got to make one up. So I was tripping balls in the forest on mushrooms, and one of the mushrooms was screaming at me while I was tripping balls, which meant serenity, but there was no serenity. This mushroom was screaming at me.
Yeah, I'll go with that from now on. I'll go with that.
Awesome.
But yeah, like I said, there's no real sort of origin point that I can kind of say this was where it came from. I think I sort of spent a long time sort of going over several different names that the band could have. And I think I literally went for Scream Serenity literally because they're just two opposing sort of words. And also the double S's sort of, I think, work quite nicely. It's, it's not... The whole kind of alliteration thing isn't something that you see a lot of in band names. But I think it really works. And, the great thing about it is, I mean, we've had discussions as a band where we felt like we're kind of misinterpreted. Before people have heard our music, they kind of assume what kind of band we are because of the name. And we quite like that. Because then people hear our music and it takes them by surprise. They're like, that's not what I was expecting from a band called Scream Serenity. Because it sounds kind of more, I guess kind of thrash metal, whatever you want to call it, sort of than what we actually are. So I think, it takes people by surprise when they actually hear our music. And like I say, we quite like that.
All right. Very cool. Now, I know we've touched on this a little bit, Jordan, but it's probably going to change a little bit because obviously the tracks that we've heard before were written in a different caliber than, say, newer tracks coming along. But when you guys do get to sit down and write songs, what's that process like?
Well, as I said before, basically what will happen is either I'll have like part of an idea, or I'll have, say, a chorus to a song that I've written, or Ian will have like a guitar riff that he wants to use. So usually what will happen is, we'll kind of show each other, ideas that we've got. We'll pick one to run with. And then what will normally happen is me, Ian, and now James, originally it was Paul, but now James kind of get together and basically we just hash out ideas, really. We come up with, linking ideas into like, verses and choruses and, sort of linking parts and all of that kind of stuff. And then once we've kind of got something tangible, we'll then bring Johnny in. Johnny works with, our writing process a lot better once we have something tangible that he can then say, right, I can come in and then I've got all of this stuff all ready to go that I can now put drums to. So that's kind of how the writing process works with us. It's mainly, it's mainly me, Ian, and James, and then Johnny will come in afterwards and kind of tie it all together with the beat. So
with the beat, very cool. Yeah. So I guess you use like a drum machine at all before Johnny comes in?
No, we don't. I mean, normally what we'll find is if we've written something that doesn't quite fit, we'll then adapt it with Johnny there to know that we've got something that will work and that he's comfortable and is in time and everything like that. But to be honest with you, we don't write to a click, we don't write anything like that. We literally just kind of write. We don't write to a drum machine or anything. It's just we literally come up with ideas and just we kind of write. I mean, we're all quite experienced musicians anyway, so particularly me, James and Ian. So we've been doing it quite a long time, so we kind of know, what we know how to write a song, and even though James hasn't been with us too long, to be honest with you, we've only just started writing with him. I mean, James is on our wavelength so much that it's so easy. It's just a really enjoyable process.
I dig it. Let's go and listen to the first track, Beyond This Land.
I fall to oblivion. Well, I've walked through the shadow of the valley of the damned, and I've talked with all the people who have fled beyond this land. And I've seen 100 million blood run cold as I slip out of this world and fall to oblivion. I see no way to the promised land. As black as obsidian, feel my life run through your hands. My yoke is dominion. Nightmare has become my own. Can you save your own innocence as you feel yourself lose all control?
Okay, coming back from Beyond This Land, talk to me about Beyond This Land. What is the story behind it, inspiration behind it? What is the deep inner meaning?
So basically, it's just about someone who has lived a life of crime, a life of just a bad life in general, really. Just someone who's a deviant as such, and that person loses their life in some way or another. Not sure how they lose their life. They feel their life kind of slipping away, and they find themselves in hell, where they kind of become some kind of overlord.
Wow, that was deep.
Yeah.
Let's go and listen to the next track, Legacy.
Sit among the flames of your life. The ashes are the remnants of your pride. Everything you've done, you did in spite. You brought this on yourself, you can't deny. Everyone you love is fled from you. There's nothing left to live with but the truth. The blood that's on your hands will serve as proof. There's no one else to blame when it's just you.
Okay, coming back from Legacy, I'm guessing it's something super duper deep, just like Beyond This Land.
Pretty much, it's literally about the mark that you want to leave behind on the world. It's pure and simple. That is what it's about. It's literally, you know, thinking about how you want people to remember you when you're gone. Just, you know, plain and simple, that is what it's about. But, you know, obviously with that, it just becomes, it come sort of deeper implications and, you know, meanings. But on the face of it, that is what the song is about.
Yeah. No, I mean, even on the face of it, it's deep stuff. So we've got one track that is about basically being a hooligan, a deviant, or, you know, a sinner, a non-righteous person, as the biblical community would say. And you know, not walking that straight and narrow path, and what ends up eventually happening, well, their life slips away from them, and boom, they're in the flames of hell, and they become an overlord. And then we've got the next one, which says, honestly, it's kind of one and the same. I don't know. My question after that is if you guys had a set theme for the EP, or if it just kind of came out that way, that, well, what is the mark that you want to leave on the world? Do you want to be known as that deviant, as that hooligan, as that guy who's in the correctional facilities and things like that, who's not giving back to the community in a positive way? Or do you want to be somebody, as I think it was Benjamin Franklin who said, either write something worth reading or something along those, but basically the same idea, like, what are you doing here?
We kind of sat down and just planned the songs out, and I think it's literally just kind of gone that way. I don't think we kind of consciously thought about it. I think we kind of sat down and said, well, these are the songs that we want to do, and I think it's just it's all kind of just naturally tied together, like very, very well. But yeah, it's not something, like I say, that we kind of consciously thought about. We didn't kind of have a theme or anything that we kind of went with for the EP. It's literally just how it played out, really, and it's worked out brilliantly.
Now, Jordan, what exciting news do you have coming up for Rock Metal Nation to pay attention to?
We have some videos coming out, not strictly official music videos. Basically, we went down. I mean, we live. All four of us live right on the east coast of England. We all live at the most easterly point in a town called Lowestoft. Now, we're about 3 hours away from London, so the capital of the UK, and we headed down there, and we went to a recording studio, and we recorded some songs live, 3 songs, and we also shot some videos in the studio as well. And we went down for a day, and we kind of hit it all. And we've just had the 3 videos come back, and they're absolutely phenomenal. Now we're going to be using it as we're going to be putting one out very, very soon, hopefully. We're now working with a PR person who used to work for EMI Records, and he now kind of does freelance stuff soon. And then the other 2 that we did at this studio in London will be going towards promotional material for our album, which we will be recording next year.
Ooh. All right, so we got a new album that's being recorded next year, but sooner than that, Rock Metal Nation pay attention to 3 music videos coming out from Scream Serenity. Now, Jordan, my next big question is, how can Rock Metal Nation find out more about you? Is there a website that they should go to?
There is. We have an official website. It is www.screamserenity.com. Everything about us that you would ever need to know is on there. We have music on there. We've got our music videos. There's like interview videos that we've done. There's live videos. All our music that we've released up to date is on there on a music player. We've got our merch store. If anybody wants to buy any merchandise, if they like us enough to give us money. So I think we try and keep up to date with all the news on our homepage and everything, and try and keep people informed. But apart from that, we've got on our main website there are links across to our social media. But we're on Facebook, which I think is facebook.com/Scream Serenity Band. We're on Twitter at Scream Serenity, or at Scream_Serenity, I think. What else are we on? We're on Instagram. I think as _Scream Serenity. We're on YouTube. We've got a SoundCloud page and stuff like that, you know. So you know, we're all right across the board. We try and cover as many bases as we can, but for everything all in one place, the website, our official website.
Cool. All right, Rock Metal Nation, head over to ScreamSerenity.com. We've got music there, music videos, interview videos, live videos, all the music, including what you've heard here today. So if you like what you heard here today, definitely go to ScreamSerenity.com. There's also a merch store so that you can spend money, and then spend more money. And then news on the homepage as well. And if you're a social media deviant, speaking of deviants, then go ahead and head over to ScreamSerenity.com, where you can find all of their relevant links to all the social media sites. They're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, SoundCloud. I'm running out of breath because there's so many social media sites now. And boom, there it is, Jordan. I just wanted to, unless you've got anything else you want to throw out there, I wanted to thank you for coming on and sharing Scream Serenity with Rock Metal Nation.
Well, thank you for having me, John. I don't think there was anything else that I kind of needed to say. I mean, just, keep a check on us. We've got some fairly big things coming out, and, it's exciting times.
Everything you've done, you did inspire. You brought this on yourself, you can't deny.
All right, Rock Metal Nation, hopefully you just found your new favorite band in Scream Serenity. Big thanks again for them for coming on and sharing their music with us. Make sure to head over to www.therockmetalpodcast.ca to check out all the information from the show you just heard today. And until then, rock on, Rock Metal Nation.